Good morning, everybody. I'm back again. Scott Warofka, Associate Publisher with SC Biz News, and we're continuing our 10 questions. And now I'm lucky to be joined by Business Unit Leader in Greenville for AM King, Andre Harris. Andre, good to meet you.
How you doing, sir?
Before we even get started, we just had a moment that I'm not sure everyone got to see, but we just determined that we have the same birthday.
Yes, sir.
How incredible is that? I mean,
I'm in great company already.
oh, well, we'll see about that. But I appreciate you taking some time. First of all, we should also congratulate you because you made our 2024 Power List.
Yes, thank you. Thank you.
Congratulate for manufacturing. Obviously, we are at the Manufacturing Conference. So, talk to me a little bit about we were talking about the link that you've been obviously with AM King, but is there a project that really stands out? I mean, to get an accolade such as this, we've determined we have a couple years behind us. So,
Yeah.
is there a project that really stands out as one of your favorites?
Not really. The thing that I guess we're most proud of is the tenure that we've had in South Carolina providing design build services for our manufacturing clients. Um, the tenure that we've had in South Carolina providing design build services for our clients, um, the the teams that we've been able to put together. It's a concept that we talk about where we don't use teams to build projects, but we build projects using teams. It builds the team while we're providing the manufacturing services. And then just the growth that we've seen. We're a 20 plus year old company, and we've seen steady, consistent growth over these years. And again, we thank our people, and then we thank South Carolina manufacturing clients for that growth. So
I love it. I hear the coach and the players there. You got to adjust your play style to your team, etc. And you folks have certainly found some of your sweet spots and niche. What are three things you would want? We obviously have a room full of manufacturers. What are
yeah.
three things that you would want these folks to know about AM King?
So again, roughly 20 years old. We like to exist in obviously manufacturing. We do some heavy industrial, and we do some food processing, food distribution. We're fully integrated design build, and we're going to talk about
I was going to say,
design
explain a
build
little
later
bit of that.
on, but so that is the delivery method that we choose for some reasons. And we also, the company was born in this area, which we we're loyal to this area. So the resources that we use to develop the projects come from, we prefer local. If the market or extenuating circumstances prevent us from using local resources, then we have to get the resources from where we can. But we prefer clients local, resources local, people local.
AM King's growth has kind of followed with the region's growth.
Yeah.
It's a mix. It makes a lot of sense, obviously. Uh, you're known, we talked a little bit about that design build, and you all are known for award-winning facility designs.
Yeah.
How do AM King's design services benefit specifically the manufacturing folks?
So in manufacturing, and I'm sure a lot of our audience will attest, you need fast, agile, adaptive solutions to problems that occurred yesterday. So if any of my clients are listening, I hear you. I understand.
He put the crystal ball away before.
So design build takes advantage of trust. It takes advantage of collaboration and speed, because you're not having to do things in series. You can do them all at one time, which squeezes your bars so that we can minimize the downtime that our clients are experiencing, and get them back to manufacturing where they make money. And,
And that's what we're trying to do, minimize that downtime.
minimize the downtime, and that is the way that we add value to their product.
Well, and before we came on stage, we were talking about how I found you, and that was through your Munzing project. And talk about that project a little bit and how you were faced with similar challenges where we wanted to.
So the speed to market, competitive proposal, speed to market are two key indicators of a successful project. Munzing, we were able to get involved with their process early on and start to take advantage of design, start to take advantage of integrating building and process together to try to identify areas where we could consolidate resources,
Streamline a little bit.
streamline resources, and areas where we needed to remain separate. Their owners are open to consolidating resources because it saves them money. But sometimes the process resource needs to be separate from the building resource because of hazards or because of efficiencies.
Can you explain that just a little bit?
I will. This is a detail. I'm a civil engineer, so I'm a little bit detailed.
I don't mind.
But let's say we're using steam to heat a building. We're also using steam to heat a product. There's certain criteria that the process has to have that is separate from building heat. So while we can use the heat, we don't really need those contaminants going back and forth. We could use a heat exchanger or something to keep them separate. But if it's just heat, that can be transferred between the two. But if it's more than heat or something that we need to separate, that cannot be transferred between the two. So that is some of the stuff that, again, getting on the front end of the process, we were able to identify what things could be transferred between the two and what things couldn't be transferred.
And that's that agility again that you were talking about, because you got to be able to pivot there.
You don't know. You have to learn. We're going to get into this later on also, but you've got to spend time with our clients and their process to really understand what they're doing so that you don't make mistakes.
And part of that, and you touched on this, but now I'm going to ask the question because I think it a good segue into, now explain what the difference is between design build and design bid build.
So having played in both areas, the design bid build world is somebody designs it separate from the people who actually execute it or build it. And then there's a bid process that occurs between the two. In design build, you do it all simultaneously. Another advantage that we found of design build is it's all one person. So a design bid build client would have to write two separate contracts for the work, have two separate exposures to risk for the same work, and possibly create an adversarial relationship by having a triangle. In design build, there's one contract. Again, there is a level of risk, but we think it's less because you're only dealing with one person instead of two people. So you only have to make one agreement rather than two agreements. And then the other thing is the designers and the builders work together. So in the case of Munzing, we talked about speed to market and those kinds of things. That collaboration is much better when that designer is sitting right beside me. So
getting another party in is just, it's a telephone game.
it works in some cases, but we found for our clients, the industries that we play in, that design build is the best delivery method.
And some of those industries, and that's an interesting segue, because I know one of the things that I had looked at when I was preparing for this was one of the areas you all specialize in is the installation of manufacturing equipment.
Yes.
And I was thinking about some of the folks that have gone to visit here, and it's like, I get it. They order something, it's delivered. What the heck do we do with it? I mean, there's a little bit more to that, and I get
a little bit.
Yeah, and elaborate on that a little bit, because we've got a lot of folks here in energy, automotive, aerospace. Talk to me a little bit about what AM King can do to help them design and then implement
Yeah.
these new pieces of manufacturing equipment.
So our audience knows they are manufacturers, that there's really nothing simple about the manufacturing process that they individually have. It takes specialized equipment, it takes specialized utilities. Just for example, we think of compressed air, for example, as you just take the air that you breathe, you squeeze it, it creates pressure, and you use it.
That's not the case.
No, no. Some of our clients need air, that the air that we even breathe has particulates that you can't see, count, that make it impure. Well, the equipment, the processes that we have to implement require dry, unoiled, um, to a specification that that a piece of equipment can receive. That kind of information not known can derail, delay, cause major issues with the project. So the manufacturing, our job, the service that we deliver is to get to know our client. That's where the trust comes in. Spend time with our clients. Put the work in, Scott, to understand the process, understand the pieces of equipment, understand what utilities work, what utilities don't work, understand how long it takes to get it. Needless to say, logistical problems that we've been having. Take measures to get that equipment, those materials to the job site in a timely enough fashion that we could deliver a project when we said we were going to do it.
Incredible the amount of I think
Detail.
getting to know the client and their needs is what is going to be critical there, and avoiding that downtime, making sure that we're still
And Scott, let me say also, you doing this for so long, but so tenure is a big deal to AM King. A lot of our clients, we talked about it early on, why we were so proud of the Powerless nomination is because we've been doing it for so long, and for somebody to recognize us for that tenure is a big deal to us. But doing that for so long, it can get repetitive and dull. A big deal is um, you've got to remain, I say fresh, or you've got to remain in
cutting edge.
tune with
Yeah.
the industry, so that it doesn't get old. Using new innovations, using new technology, and implementing those into the solutions.
It's ever evolving. I
Always.
mean, you're continuing education on a regular daily
Yeah.
basis. We're talking about some of these complex installations. So, give me an idea. I know you were mentioning aspects of it I never even thought of.
Yeah.
So, from beginning to end, what is the life cycle of a project of some of the scale, like a Munzing or something like that? What will we be talking about?
We have, so let's take a Munzing for example. We're actually finishing the project up, so it's the end of 2024. We were engaged with Munzing early on in 2020, 2021. They were in the process. So Scott, the process, or a manufacturer's process, comes first. They identify what they're trying to do, and they share that information. A lot of it is proprietary. And then we understand that and then build or wrap a building or whatever it is that they need around that process. So Munzing started talking about that process 3 years ago, 3.5 years ago. We spent some time with their process engineers, got to understand their process, and then we implemented our design team to start working on the building in conjunction with them finishing up the process. And then all of this occurred before an 18-month construction period. So relationships, again, just kind of going back to those things we talked about, that contributed to, again, the Powerless nomination. Relationships with the client, relationships with the resources, relationship with your people.
Well, you see, that's another interesting aspect, and I've been interviewing some folks who are in education, etc. But it relates to this because it's more that you're a civil engineer. You had mentioned by training.
Yeah.
but it's more than just that technical expertise. So what are some of those soft skills that you have to have in order to excel?
So again, I mentioned you got to have a passion. Like our people, we push them to become experts of something. You can't really know everything, but some aspect of the construction process or the design process or one of those areas, we push them to become experts. In order to do that, you got to have a passion for the knowledge, for dealing with people, for understanding those things that make you an expert. You got to have some patience for a very iterative and iterative process, somewhat complicated.
Yeah.
You to deal with that, over and over again, and then kind of a discipline to stick to. We have a set of core foundational principles that you have to stick to. You can't really go outside of those boundaries. And then you got to have some humility with your clients to realize you're dealing with people. You're a person, you make mistakes, you're dealing with a client. So those soft skills, I think, are really necessary if you're going to enjoy this industry.
I'm telling you, we tend to glaze over some of that. But I mean, hearing, the life cycle of some of these projects, you have to have those soft skills in order to maintain that relationship and see a project through to completion.
To the end. Yes.
Yeah, that's incredible. With that in mind, I know collaboration obviously is part of it. We've got a room full of manufacturers all interested in collaborating with AM King on something, or maybe they have already. Talk to me a little bit about how collaboration with other businesses, how does that work for AM King?
So again, the collaboration is one of the key parts of design build. That's just why we use this method as opposed to other methods. But if we can't communicate, if we can't clearly and concisely transfer information back and forth, so from you, if you're my client, Scott, I've got to understand your process. I've got to understand the timing. I've got to understand what are the obstacles that are keeping you from being valuable. My goal is to add value to you. And then at the same time, we've got to communicate back to you what the industry says you can and can't do, or i.e. getting switch gear in 2 weeks. You can't do that.
That's managing expectations.
It is. So that is part of the collaboration. And then what the industry says the cost is, what the industry says, what the code officials say from a code standpoint you can and can't do, what OSHA says from a safety standpoint you can and can't do. So that information has to go back and forth, and it has to be continual. So again, if the life cycle of a project, we're kind of talking about Munzing, for an example, is 3.5, 4 years, it has to be continuous. We're about to finish the job, but one of the things we do is we have weekly collaboration meetings with the client. Okay, we've been doing that for 3.5 years. Once the job is done, there's still a handover process that happens at the back part of it.
It's not just flip a switch.
No, you just bought a world-class manufacturing high-tech facility. An owner's manual might not get it.
That's not going to suffice.
So I've got to show you how to run it. I got to show you how to tweak it. So collaboration, that might be the single most important part of design build, delivering services to manufacturing clients that we deal with.
What I think is really interesting about that is I think very often we would tend to think that that's a very transactional process. It's like, I need this, you do this, provide this, and done. But you're telling me that this is an ongoing, learning how to operate it, learning the efficiencies, how to optimize.
Yeah, you hit on the button. We're talking about design build versus design bid build. Design bid build is transactional.
Okay.
Most of the time it happens, it's a one-off. It's not really relationship driven. Design build is relational. So you have to, again, early on collaborate, during the course of the project collaborate, and even at the finish collaborate. One of the, needless to say, having long tenures with our clients we want to do multiple projects. So the idea is that you as a client or as a manufacturer don't have to wonder that once you take the keys that you're by yourself in this thing. It's a collaborative process. It's a team process.
Ongoing.
It's ongoing. We're in it together. We want to be your design build solution, not for this project, but add value to your company for as long as you'll have us.
That is truly an intelligent way to focus on this. I'm sorry, you do guys, but I think it's very refreshing to find out, because I think that too often in the past, a lot of these transactions, that's the way it was viewed. I'm, A to C, and that's it. Whereas it's very interesting to find, I know from what we do, we're looking to build relationships and provide solutions on an ongoing basis. And I think that it's very refreshing that an entity such as AM King has recognized that and is really a true partner with your clients.
Yeah, I've been in this industry 30 plus years. We won't go into that, but we're having.
You started working at 5? But I'm sorry.
Thank you. But we're having to change the minds of our clients about what to expect from. Some people call us a contractor.
They don't like
that's not what we are.
Okay.
We're a partner.
I love that.
And it is a continual process. We do find clients, we do find resources that still think that is the case. We're having to break down that stereotype of the service that we provide, that is what it is, and it's not.
It's a change. I think that, we've seen it all around. I think that people are looking for people to do business with entities that truly want to be with them, partners for a long-term basis. And, once you build that trust, it becomes a lot easier to go back and continue to do business with them.
Yeah.
And that's why AM King is celebrating 20 plus years.
20 plus years in the business.
I get it.
We think the model works.
Yep, makes sense. We've got some folks here who are just starting off in their career. We've got some folks who are we have some college folks I know who joined us today from a myriad of the colleges in the area. And we have some folks who are, entry level.
Yep.
What kind of advice can you provide to get them, make sure that in 20 or 30 years, they're sitting up here with me and we're talking? I hope I'm still doing this.
I hear you. No, the up and coming managers, the people that are going to populate our industry after you and I are long gone, you probably heard it from other people, is the most valuable resource there is. I would advise young people, young managers, students coming into the industry to invest themselves in exactly that, the people. I would advise them to create networks. So we need our clients need us, we need resources to provide the services that we provide. Go ahead and start creating those relationships, those networks on people who share your values. And again, you can't have everybody on your LinkedIn page, but spend time with people who, again, agree with you or have the same values as you, and create networks with those people to make use of what each of you can bring to the table. Learn, and this is something new to me. Again, I'm a engineer by trade, and you get caught up in the details of the industry, and it is just what is written.
The
day-to-day, the mundane, repetitive. Hey, this is the way we've done it for years and years and years and years. I've gotten used to or been introduced to understanding your clients, like paying attention to your client's process, not just what I do or what I bring to the table, but what do they do? What does Munzing make? What's interesting about it? What's different about it?
You're unique.
What does automotive? What does ZF do? What does GE do? How does all these products, how are they succeeding against really large competitors?
Yeah.
And that will fuel, in my opinion, innovation and change that you're going to need over the next 20 to 25 years to, again, stay relevant and valuable in the industry. And then, again, back to our teams, learn how to enjoy the person that you work right next to. Learn how to pay attention to their needs, not their work. That's kind of understood, but pay attention to their emotions, the things that motivate them, the
People
things.
say my why.
Your why. That exactly, and be sensitive to that. And then again, people are wonderful people. They're good. Your soul and your spirit will tell you what to do after you learn that information. But we got to put some time and some energy into it.
Time and energy to build a network and to really show that you care about your colleagues, I think, and your clients. And I think that that's what AM King has demonstrated over 20 years. So that was 10 questions, and that was fast.
Man,
And you and I could talk forever.
we got to keep going.
Truth of the matter is, because I think we do have similar values, I'm going to want to spend some more time with you at some point.
I look forward to it, Scott. I thank you very much.
Likewise. Thank you so much for joining us.
Okay. All right, sir.
Thank you.
Bye.